When captured German soldiers first arrived in American prisoner-of-war camps, they couldn't help but laugh. They saw rows of trays, long lunch lines, and giant metal kitchens. To them, it looked like a cafeteria, not a military prison. They whispered to each other that the Americans must be soft, spoiled, or joking. But then they got their first taste. Hot coffee, fresh bread, meat, and before long, the same men who laughed were lining up for seconds. Stay until the end to discover how American prisoner-of-war camps, especially their food, left a lasting impression on German soldiers who expected the worst and found something they never imagined: dignity, abundance, respect, and even kindness. The arrival, expecting hunger. For most German soldiers captured in 1944, the long journey across the Atlantic was filled with fear and uncertainty. They'd been told that Allied captivity meant starvation and mistreatment. They braced for hard labor, cold rations, and endless punishment. But when they arrived in the US, what they found shocked them. Instead of barbed wire wastelands, many camps were clean, organized, and built near small towns or military bases. And instead of starving, they were fed like soldiers. At their first meal, the disbelief was almost comical. Each man received a tray loaded with food: mashed potatoes, green beans, meatloaf, milk, and dessert. Some laughed, convinced it was a mistake. Others quietly waited, afraid it might be a trick or a trap. The cafeteria shock. The US Army ran POW mess halls like military cafeterias. Each camp had American cooks, sometimes even German prisoners trained in kitchens, who prepared meals under strict nutritional guidelines. According to the Geneva Convention, prisoners were to receive the same rations as US troops. To German soldiers, especially those who'd fought through years of rationing and shortages, this was unthinkable. In the Reich, civilians were eating turnips and ersatz bread. On the Eastern Front, soldiers sometimes went days without meat. Now they were being served full plates and offered seconds. Many POWs joked about it at first. They'd mock the American cafeteria style, teasing the trays, the portions, and the cheerful cooks behind the counter. But after a few days, the laughter faded, and the lines grew longer and longer. The taste of abundance. The German soldiers couldn't believe the variety. Eggs for breakfast, stews and casseroles at lunch. On Sundays, roast chicken or pork with dessert. And then there was the coffee. Strong, hot, endless. For men who'd been drinking Acorn Substitute for years, it was a luxury beyond words. One POW later recalled, "At first we thought, this is propaganda. They feed us so we'll talk. But after weeks we realized this was simply how Americans lived." The food became one of the most powerful symbols of culture shock in captivity. The German belief in scarcity met the American belief in abundance, and the result was unforgettable. Changing perspectives. Something else began to change in those cafeterias. Attitudes. For many prisoners, the meals became their first quiet moments of reflection. If the Americans treated their enemies this well, what did that say about the war? They saw American guards eating the same food beside them. They saw African American soldiers working in kitchens, an image that challenged their propaganda-fed views on race and equality. They even saw American officers joking with prisoners over breakfast. Slowly, laughter turned to curiosity, and then to respect. Work, routine, and the American way. As the months went on, German POWs began working on nearby farms and factories. Their meals followed them, packed lunches that rivaled anything they'd ever had at home. They learned that American farmers ate 3 meals a day: meat, bread, butter, milk. To many Germans, this abundance seemed impossible in wartime. By 1945, some camps were self-sustaining communities. POWs farmed, cooked and baked their own bread. They organized music performances and even small restaurants inside camp walls. But the foundation of daily life remained the same. The cafeteria line. A place where the enemy became human again, and they appreciated it after years of long battle and scarcity. After the war, what they remembered. When the war ended, thousands of German POWs returned home with vivid memories of America. Not the battles, but the food and the treatment. They wrote in diaries about milk and eggs, about clean kitchens, about guards who smiled and treated them with respect. One former German prisoner said years later, "We laughed at their cafeterias, but when I came home to an empty table, I stopped laughing." For them, the meals symbolized something bigger, a glimpse into a society that valued fairness, even for its enemies. The cafeteria line had taught them an unexpected lesson. Strength isn't always measured in firepower. Sometimes it's in generosity, in humanity, and in mutual respect. This is a true World War II story. Because behind every battle, there are moments of humanity worth remembering. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments and subscribe for more true World War II stories.